Happy New Year, everyone. It's now 2023, believe it or not. We've made it to the future. And we've also made it through the holiday season. So, with that being said, I wanted to talk to you about how we can move forward into this year to help you to get the kind of relationship that you want. We're going to be talking about what you need to know, what you need to prepare yourself for as we get into the new year, because even though the holidays are over, we're not out of the woods yet. There are still sort of temporal things happening on the calendar that are worth noticing and worth being mindful of as we move forward. But before we go ahead and get into all of this, hello, this is Clay with modernlove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play hard to get, without having to play mind games, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you're not, because you deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. Okay, so first of all, we did make it through the holiday season. If you have been following us throughout the holiday season, you probably know about the holiday expectation effect. You know about all the complications that involved, and that is dissipating now because the holidays are over. Some people might be on what they call a holiday hangover, just sort of exhausted and tired from the whole holiday season. But as we start to recover from that and get back into normal day-to-day life, we will start to move forward from that. So the holiday expectation effect is rapidly decreasing, if any of it is still lingering at all. And so we are given this sort of brief window of opportunity to have regular, normal, daily sort of interactions and normal life. I say brief window because, believe it or not, as distant and far out as it might seem, we are only maybe 5 or 6 weeks away from Valentine's Day. And this, of course, will have an effect on relationships. This will have an effect on, getting back together, saving your relationship, etc. We'll get into more of this as we get closer to Valentine's Day, but it will basically be like a sort of condensed holiday expectation effect that will probably last for most people from the beginning of February up until February 15th. Most people don't really start to realize how soon Valentine's Day is coming up until February starts to hit, and even that it can sometimes sneak up on you. But it will have an effect, and so at least through January, you get a brief relief from all of this whole holiday stuff. And I want to make sure that we're making the most of this moving forward. So, what can be useful in terms of creating this connection that you want with your partner, with your ex, are a couple basic ground rules that we've been talking about for a while now on this channel. But just to refresh you, we want to drop the romantic pressure that that they are experiencing as they interact with us. Especially if the two of you are still feeling out how you are going to fit into each other's lives and still exploring what the connection is going to be like, you want to keep that romantic pressure low. They may naturally have a lot of romantic pressure that they're putting onto the situation because of the fact that the two of you obviously were in a relationship with one another. Or potentially some of you, if you're, reasonably new to this channel, you may be putting that romantic pressure on yourself by doing things like begging and pleading, by doing things like asking them to make a decision, by delivering ultimatums, by asking them, hey, can we get back together? Stuff like that. These are things that elevate the romantic pressure and make it difficult for them to form an emotional connection with you that is actually going to help them to make that decision further on down the road. But for now, we want to keep that romantic pressure low. The next important thing that we want to make sure that we're doing throughout this journey here is to make sure that we're on the same team with one another. You've probably heard me talk a lot about being on the same team. It is vitally important. We're not necessarily going to go into all the details of that right now because, there's other videos on that, and we can do that maybe some other time if we need to. But if you can stay on the same team and keep that romantic pressure low, you're going to really open the doorways for communication between the two of you and open the doorways for emotional connection between the two of you. And you really want to be able to do that now in this January window, because if you do, then you can potentially ride the whole Valentine's expectation effect to your advantage. Okay, so again, we'll get to this more later on as it gets closer, but in the first 2 weeks of February, you'll have something very similar to the holiday expectation effect, but for Valentine's Day. So that is to say, you may experience you and your partner growing very close during this period of time, or you may experience the two of you getting very distant. Um, that is just due to an exaggeration and an accentuation of the emotions that people are going through when it comes to the whole Valentine's Day sort of thing. Um, before we go ahead and get into all of that, though, if you do like these videos that I do, please make sure that you hit that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. Please make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and please make sure you hit the notification bell as well, too. The notification bell is very important. I've been working with a YouTube strategist who says, hey, you got to get people to hit that notification bell. So help me out, hit the notification bell. And also, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section, whether you're on the live stream or whether you're on the replay. There will be Q&A towards the end of this video. So please feel free to post a comment and interact, and we'll answer the questions that we can towards the end of this video or in the comment section down below. But anyway, there is going to be this opportunity that you have if you form a decent emotional connection now in January, if you don't already have one, to potentially ride the Valentine's Day expectation effect to actually get back together or to further deepen your emotional bond with your ex into February. Of course, we want to make sure that we are building a strong emotional connection, an organic emotional connection, rather than just, hoping that the, magic of Cupid's bow and arrow makes us be together. We want to build the emotional connection to support actually having a relationship. Because, as we did talk about in the whole December holiday expectation effect period, people can get close during the holidays, but once the holiday is over, the relationship will fall down to the level of the emotional connection. So even if the two of you do end up getting close or getting together over Valentine's, you want to make sure that there's actually a strong foundation underneath you so that when February 15th happens, you actually have a good foundation to rest your relationship on. So we want to make sure that we're building that emotional connection. And the emotional connection is going to come from, again, a place of low romantic pressure, being on the same team. And then the third element there is bonding, emotional connection through things that we've been talking about on this channel for, over a decade now at this point, advanced relational skills, being able to connect with one another, being able to bond, being able to form that emotional connection, rapport building, all of these sorts of things. And by the way, if you do want like a little crash course on all of this stuff, you might want to check out Relationship Repair over at modernlove.life/RR. You can find that it's $47, less than taking someone out to dinner at an okay kind of restaurant. And you can get a quick crash course on all of this sort of stuff, being on the same team, dropping the romantic pressure, and building some emotional connection through rapport building, as well as some other things as well too. But these are the things that you want to be doing now. So as many of you may have found out, during the whole holiday season, just hoping and wishing for a holiday miracle may not necessarily be the best strategy. Okay. If you did that, I hope that you got what you were looking for, but I also have spoken to many people who have been disappointed because that was their strategy, to hope for a holiday Christmas miracle. And maybe they find themselves now, okay, what do I do? It didn't happen. So I don't want you to be hoping and praying for Valentine's miracle either, and to end up disappointed when it may not materialize. So the time to put the groundwork in place for a potential Valentine's miracle is now, in the month of January. Okay. And if you also do want a little bit of extra coaching to help you through that, or a little bit of guidance to see if you can put some things in place, head over to modernlove.life/quiz for an assessment on whether or not your relationship can be saved. But, just give us a little bit of background information on your situation, submit the form, and it'll let you know sort of what our take on your situation is based off of the things that you've inputted into the assessment. But again, that's over at modernlove.life/quiz. Anyway, these are the important things to be focusing on right now. as hard as it might be to kind of pick yourself up off the ground after the holidays, and to be focusing in on these fundamentals, this is a window of opportunity. And you can just sort of weather the Valentine's Day storm and get through to the other side, and just pick things up there and work on it. That's fine. But you can also use Valentine's Day as an opportunity to help you get a leg up on this. If you can get the emotional connection in place, it can work towards your favor. So I see no problem in trying to do that. Anyway, with that being said, once again, if you like these videos that we do, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And most importantly, click the notification bell. But with that being said, let's talk to some people in the comment section, in the chat section. There are some super chats here. Once again, I don't do these live streams for you to, do super chat donations, but it's my understanding that under the etiquette of the internet, I must respond to super chats. So we're going to start with the super chats here. We have one from someone who goes by the name of Squishy, interestingly enough. Hey, Clay, my name is Andrew. Okay, well, I'll call you Andrew. That sounds better than Squishy. Andrew, recently I went through a breakup after my ex confessed that she had feelings for someone else from work. Your videos have helped so much. Thanks, I'm glad to hear that. We have similar career goals and have known each other since middle school. We dated for 2 years, and when she broke up, she said she wants to stay friends, but now her reactance has gone up. Trying to detach from outcome and focus on myself. She watches my stuff on Instagram, and I heard from our friend that she still cares about me, but when we text, she's pretty distant and a little bit upset. I know I need to take it slow, but I just want to say that you have helped me keep a clear mind, even when things have been really tough. I'm turning 21 in a week, and this is my first relationship. You help a ton. Well, thank you so much for the kind words. I imagine she's probably also, reasonably young, maybe 20, 21 or something like that. Or perhaps, 18, 19, I don't know. But her reactance has gone up. You say she has developed feelings for a coworker. So are they actually in a rebound relationship? I don't believe you actually said that her and the coworker are together. But if they are, then potentially the coworker could be feeling jealous or insecure about the fact that she might be connecting with you, and then he could be forming a sort of external influence on her that says, hey, you shouldn't talk to him, he's your ex, I feel really uncomfortable about that, you should block him, you should only talk to me or something. And that could potentially be why she's keeping herself at arm's length when she is interacting with you. Now, of course, it does sound like most of your interactions are online, I think. So what we want to do is we want to try to have some interactions in person. It sounds like the two of you live in the same area, so there's no long distance thing here, I'm guessing. What you want to do is you want to try to meet up with her in person, because when you're in person with someone, number one, you can have a better emotional connection with them rather than, texting back and forth. But also, they can often surrender themselves to being present with you more so than they can do in a sort of texting or online kind of environment. It's easy to see someone and to feel their energy, to feel their presence, and to just sort of release and say, okay, yeah, it's you, it's the person that I care about, who can be so easygoing and all that sort of stuff. I can just let my guard down and we can just connect in the moment. And when that happens, I think that's going to help your connection a lot more than trying to, text your way to connection here. Then beyond that, if you can just do a lot of the things that we talked about before, get on the same team, drop the romantic pressure, and build that emotional connection, hopefully through in-person interactions, you're going to be setting yourself up. Again, it's unclear whether or not she is actually together with this coworker or not. So I can't comment on whether or not there's really a rebound situation in play or not, but potentially that could be what is causing her to keep that distance. But, regardless of whether it is or not, just being in the same physical location and being in each other's physical presence can be very disarming if you go about doing the things that we talked about, same team, drop the pressure, and emotional connection. Anyway, Andrew, thank you so much for the super chat. And I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great new year, and I hope your 2023 is off to a good start. Next up, we have Jennifer. Super sticker. I think you're trying to do a super sticker, but apparently it didn't work. Anyway, Jennifer says, I bought ESP. Why is he scared to see me again, Clay? He is being polite and stalling me. You continue with, there was no domestic violence or cheating or anything like that. Just like you with your big X, we've had 2 breakups. Is there more? I'm not seeing more. Okay, so if he is stalling and being polite, what's probably happening here is the two of you aren't on the same team. You got to start by being on the same team. Okay, so if he's stalling and being polite, that's because he is afraid of getting too close to you because he doesn't know what that means. And he's not sure maybe what your intentions are. He's not sure maybe what his own feelings are. He's a little bit confused. And oftentimes, a person's ex will be conservative about getting too close to you when they are uncertain about how they feel themselves. You know, the last thing somebody wants to do is to put themselves out there and say, oh my goodness, you're right. I was leading you on. I was stringing you along. I was confused. And then they have to walk that back. So they're probably going to be very conservative, hold themselves back more than maybe their emotions actually dictate. And one way that we can get around this is by getting on the same team with one another. That way they don't feel as if they have to guard themselves against what your emotions are, what your expectations or what your motives and things like that are. They can just say, hey, we're on the same team. We can talk about it openly. We can just connect. We can do all these sorts of things. So I think having a same team conversation would help a lot. Also, just being vulnerable yourself can also help in this regard as well too. Show him by example what it means to open up so that he feels as if he can bring more of himself to the situation as well too, so that he feels that he can open up and he doesn't have to just do this whole polite thing. You know, there's this whole thing called the polite trap where, you know, both of you just kind of keep each other at arm's length. And it's like, oh, hey, how was your day? Oh, it was good. How was your day? Oh, it was okay. Got anything planned for this weekend? Oh, nothing much. How about you? Oh, I don't know. And, you know, you can still be talking, but you're not actually getting to anything meaningful and juicy. So if you start by leading with a little bit of vulnerability yourself, then you can show him that it's okay for him to open up and to be more vulnerable himself as well too. And that can help. So again, being on the same team, dropping romantic pressure, those are 2 valuable things that can help with this, as well as being vulnerable to help get out of that polite trap if it is what you're stuck in right there. But anyway, Jennifer, thanks so much. And I, hope your New Year's off to a great start. We have the Pale King. He says, thanks for your advice. You've given with my situation. Oh, let's back up. I think there's other ones to start with here. Clay, I need your advice. Haven't heard much from her since New Year's Eve, but I'm purposefully waiting for her to contact me because I feel if she wanted to speak to me, she would connect with me, and I don't want to hound her. Okay. Part 2. Is this wise, or should I take a chance or bugging her, or take a chance of bugging her, I guess, and reaching out? She's never said I'm bugging her. It's just me being nervous. And then again, thanks for your advice. Okay, so first of all, good to hear from you there, buddy. You've been watching these videos for a while, and I recognize names. But anyway, you can wait if you want to. There's a lot of people on the internet that'll tell you to wait for your ex to contact you because, then it gives you power, or then it, makes them want you, or, all sorts of things like that. But if you do play that game, you have to be prepared to take the cons of that. The pro would be, okay, maybe she does initiate contact, and, that means that she does care. But the con is that you have to wait for her to initiate contact. And that could involve waiting, at least in your case, 6 days, because it's the 6th now, or maybe 7 days or 8 days, or who knows, maybe 2 weeks or whatever, right? And if you're not okay to play that game of waiting, then you shouldn't, play the game of basically waiting. I don't think there's anything wrong with you initiating contact with her. Again, I know that is one thing that people sometimes do pay close attention to, is who's initiating contact more, things like that. But that's not really as important as whether or not the two of you are connecting. If the two of you are connecting and forming a deeper emotional bond, it doesn't matter who's initiating contact. Okay. You know, my wife and I'd say it's pretty safe to say that we have a pretty good emotional connection. And I honestly don't know who texts most of the time first. Is it me? Is it her? I don't know. And the reason is because texting isn't going to tell you where the emotional connection is at. It's just who has the desire to reach out in that moment. She might have reason to reach out to you, but she's not doing it for any number of reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with whether or not she cares about you. I mean, maybe she cares about you a lot. Maybe she's doing the whole thing as well too. Like, hey, I don't want to seem overly eager, so maybe I'm going to wait for him to text me, and that could also hold her back. And if both of you are playing this game, you might end up waiting indefinitely until one of you just, cracks under the pressure. I don't know. But you can play that game if you want to, but I don't see anything wrong with you initiating contact with her. Okay. It's fine to initiate contact with your ex. It doesn't matter if you initiate or if they initiate, as long as the two of you are emotionally connecting. If you're emotionally connecting, then that's all you need to do. Okay. Because whoever's initiating is basically irrelevant in the big scheme of things when it comes to the emotional connection. So anyway, I hope that helps you out there, friend. And I hope you're having a great beginning of your year. Next up, we have Jamie. Hey, Clay, I'll have a question in the chat. Okay, we'll just scroll down. Part 1. My ex and I were together for 5 years, broke up about a month ago. He wished me a happy new year right at midnight using my nickname and all. We have had no contact. No contact since New Year's, or no contact up until New Year's. Maybe we'll get into that later. I replied and went back to no contact. I was thinking of reaching out, but I met with his sister last week, and she told me she is pregnant and will be having a gender reveal in January. Should I just wait until I see him? We ended on good terms, no bad blood, just agreed to work on ourselves and see what happens. I want enough time to pass for us to actually grow and learn, but of course, it's hard when you want to see how they are. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it just depends on how long you want on when this gender reveal party is. Like, if it's next week, then okay, it's probably okay to just wait until the thing happens, this weekend or next week or whatever. That's okay. But if it's going to be like the end of the month and you don't necessarily want to wait until the end of the month, then I think it's fine to just reach out to him and connect with him. It sounds like he definitely still has a lot of feelings for you. If he texted you like right at midnight using your nickname and everything like that, it means he probably was thinking about you. It means he was probably thinking like, I think when midnight happens, I'm going to go ahead and send this message over to Jamie and, whatever. And, maybe he's, again, holding himself back for other external reasons. He doesn't want to seem too desperate. Maybe he wants to see if you are interested in him as well, too, or if you are interested in connecting or something like that. Maybe he's also saying like, hey, maybe the gender reveal party is going to, just a minute, there's some like scammer in the comment section trying to get people to go to some adult dating site or something. Okay. Just had to block that person. But maybe he's waiting to see you at the gender reveal party as well too, knowing that you're going to be there. It sounds like you are in pretty good terms with his sister, and it sounds like you have a lot of reason to expect to be invited to this gender reveal party. And I guess as her brother, he's probably also going to be there as well too. So it just depends on whether or not you're okay to wait until that party happens. Again, if the party is like in a couple days, no big deal. Just ride it out till then. But if it's like at the end of the month, or like on the last day of the month or something, and you don't want to wait that long, there's nothing wrong with initiating contact and talking to him. It's okay. It sounds like him messaging you at midnight on New Year's was basically him saying like, hey, I know we haven't talked in a while, but it's okay. We can talk. And so I think that doorway has been opened. And if you want to take advantage of it, I think it's perfectly fine to do so. All right, those are the super chats that we've got. I think I've got all of them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the non super chats. Um, Marker Ski Lap says it won't happen. She's been with the other guy since they've gotten a house, a daughter, and got married. Not that I would want to anyway. It's not like it's completely possible for everyone. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if they're married, if they have, a kid, all that sort of stuff, it's probably unlikely that someone's going to, go out of the way without a lot of effort and work to get back together with you. And it sounds like you don't want to anyway. So, hey, who am I to twist your arm and say that you have to get back together with your ex? Like, if you don't want to, then, fine, go ahead and take your life in whatever direction you want to. I just be like really careful about, potentially becoming bitter or cynical about things like this. Oftentimes it is really easy for people to, go through a difficult breakup with someone and say, hey, all women are the same. They just want this, or all men are the same. They just want that. And to become a very sort of bitter and cynical person, and then start to see things as like transactional, like, hey, men only want to sleep with you, and we only want to get commitment. So we have to, sleep with him in order to get him to commit to me, or, vice versa. And that ends up taking us into a very dark place where we aren't able to have a really heartfelt, heart-centered kind of relationship with someone. There have been times when I've gone into some of those corners of the internet where people will say things like, hey, men and women are fundamentally enemies, and you should never, you have to keep your guard up on your wife, and you have to make sure that you can control your husband, and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, wow, that sounds like a really terrible marriage. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, but if you're fundamentally viewing your wife or your husband as an enemy, then I think you might have married the wrong person. So be very careful about letting your heart harden to relationships or men or women or, whatever, because you're not protecting yourself. You're really only setting yourself back. If you really do want to have a good relationship with someone, you're going to have to keep your heart open. You're going to have to see your partner as being on the same team as you. And if they're not on the same team as you, okay, maybe they're just not the right partner for you, or maybe you just need to have a same team conversation to make sure that you are on the same team. But I don't want anyone watching this video to become cynical or bitter about love or relationships or men or women or anything like that. I want you to stay open-hearted, because that's how you're going to be able to have that great loving relationship. And you're not going to end up in some sort of like, Darwinian transactional kind of dynamic that's ultimately going to hurt you. I mean, like, how are you supposed to have a great relationship with someone if you think they're just trying to manipulate you and use you, right? How are you ever going to be able to do that? You can't do it. So you have to have the right sort of mindset about all of this sort of stuff. And you have to be going in knowing that there are good, decent people out there. There are all these sorts of things on the internet that say like, yeah, you can like nag women and make them, want to be with you or something because it lowers their self-esteem or something like that. And it's like, why would you want to be with someone who has low self-esteem? I mean, I guess it's one thing if you just want to like sleep around or something like that. And that's fine. Go ahead and do that if you want to. But I'm guessing if you actually want to be in a relationship with someone or married with someone, you want that person to be someone who you can feel good about being with, not just someone who has low self-esteem, low enough they would actually be with you, right? But you want someone who feels good about life. And in order to do that, you have to feel good about life. You have to feel good about people. You have to feel good about love. You have to feel good about men or women or relationships or love or yourself even. And that's probably a good place to start before the cynicism and the bitterness start to creep in. So, I'm sorry that you had that experience with your ex. I feel for you, but I hope you're able to get past that, because you're not doing yourself any favors by closing yourself off to love. You're not doing yourself any favors by becoming bitter and cynical and jaded. You might think that you are. You might think that it, makes you come across as some, hard badass or something, but you're not. And I wish you the best. I do. That's kind of a downer to end on, but let's see if we can do another one. Let's see. We talked to these people already. Maddie says, "Hey Clay, I need help. My ex moved in with her rebound. So how do I continue to connect with her and get closer to her when my opportunities to connect are severely limited now?" Yeah. So again, I don't know all the circumstances about this whole situation, but yeah, she might be less able to connect with you if she's living together with this person. But if you still have the opportunity to connect with her, if you, again, I don't know, do you see each other on a regular basis? Um, do 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 you still have the ability to talk to her? Has she blocked you or walled you out or anything like that? If you still do have the ability to talk to her, then continue to do it. It might make sense to try to connect with her at times when she's not around the rebound. Like if you know that she's at work or something, it might make sense to try to connect with her then or something like that. But you can absolutely still bond with someone and connect with someone even if they are in a rebound relationship. It's definitely not like a an end of the road sort of deal breaker kind of thing there at all. Yeah, just got to keep building that emotional connection. Of course, you might want to be mindful about how they interact. So if she seems like she's pulling back, it could be potentially insecurity coming from the rebound or whatever. But as long as you're able to stay focused on the emotional connection, you're going to be doing the right thing there. And with that being said, guys, oh wait, we have Jamie who says thanks. Oh yeah, that's the Jamie we spoke to earlier. Thanks, Clay. Appreciate your advice. Yeah. Thank you so much. But that being said, everyone, if you like these videos, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Please make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, and most importantly, hit that notification bell. We have a window of opportunity here with the month of January, and we're going to be doing more live streams here to help you through some of these challenges and to help you prepare for the Valentine's Day effect and all that sort of stuff. So be on the lookout for that. But with that being said, take care. I'll be coming at you next week from home. We're done with our time here in Vancouver pretty soon. And on Monday, we're going to be going back home. So I'm really excited for that. I'll have the usual setup. I won't have to use these weird office lamps that I'm just sort of, jerry rigging together to create some sort of lighting situation here. But anyway, take care, and I'll talk to you from home next week.